Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market live stream where basically all we do is take a look at a couple different stocks and answer some questions that you guys have. So we'll wait a couple minutes, we'll let the stream populate, and then we'll get going, taking a look at the charts. But until then, thank you guys all for tuning in. It's absolutely a pleasure to do this every single morning. So good morning, Mr. Green. All right. Good morning, Wizard Con. Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Always a blast. So, some simple kind of overview. What's up, what's up, what's up? Good morning, Jordan, Mr. Hernandez, Ryan Carter, Tony H. Morning, guys. Morning. All right, so enough of that. That was fun. That was cool. So the market's up today a little bit. I mean, from close till now, it's up a little bit. So, I expected that we'd probably continue to see a little bit of a green day here. Now that we're pulling back, I'm a little bit, iffy on that. But nonetheless, I still think we're kind of more on a bullish side in the market, and we should be seeing kind of the 300 level either today, tomorrow, couple days time. So still kind of have a bullish outlook on most stocks right now. Wizard Con, no guys, the coupon for our site lasts until Sunday. So, until Sunday, you guys can use Labor Day 30 coupon code and get 30% off, and I'll put that in there in a little bit. So, no, I'm not in the CGC swing because I was too busy trading yesterday that I never ended up getting into it. But let's get into sharing the screen now. So CGC is on the watch list, not for it could be on a swing trade watch list, but for me, already really missed the best entry for the swing trade. I started buying into the swing trade here. That's where I started buying. And then I also had 4,000 shares, so I really thought I picked point of the absolute bottom, and then once it continued down a little bit, I took a $400 loss, and then I ended up not really paying attention to it for quite some bit. Because what I was looking at was, where are we at? I was looking for an inverse head and shoulder position hold. So basically you see how we come down, we bounce, then we go down again, we come up, we come down. It was supposed to hold right on that level. It basically did. It broke through a little bit, but I was really adamant about it holding. Since we've been downtrending for so long, I was really adamant about it holding the formation perfect. So I ended up getting long there, but it was just too soon to get long, wasn't the bottom. So I was close to picking like the absolute perfect spot on that pullback, but anyways, missed it. But I still think today we're going to be seeing continuational moves on CGC. So this is definitely one that I'm keeping on my watch list for a long play. It had a good green day yesterday. It just broke the 25. So today I'd probably just be looking for some continuation plays to the upside. Over 27, I will note, is that if you get over 27, you can see here, right, it kind of held, then broke down. So the 27 mark is kind of similar to the 25 mark. Remember right here, kind of held, broke down, squeezed over. So held, broke down, held, broke down, squeezed over, can squeeze over. So 27 is kind of a new short squeeze level breakout small zone that we could see a little bit of additional momentum pick up on the stock if and we get over that price point. Let's see. So yeah, TNAV, Keith. TNAV is an interesting one today. They got annihilated yesterday from like 10 to 5, and then they got halted pending news. This morning they're up a little bit pre-market. It is one that we're watching on a side watch. Yes, TNAV is an interesting one for you guys to keep an eye on. Crowdsource reported earnings. Pretty sure they gapped up. That's another one you could watch. Lulu reported earnings. That's another one that we will be watching. Zoomies reported earnings. That's another one we will be watching. Good morning, Daddy B. How's it going? Chandler Ross, basically, in order to get it a dashed line, just draw a regular one. Whatever one, yours is probably solid. Just draw it, right-click it, edit properties, customize the settings, save it as a default, and then you'll never have to do that again. All right. How do you know a penny stock will have a huge panic well below the 9 EMA only from intraday price action? Generally, penny stocks don't have huge panic sell-offs below the 9 moving average. Typically, generally a panic sell-off occurs after a structural formation of support has been made, and then the price action falls through that structural support zone later in the day, or maybe the next day or a couple days later, however. But generally, panic sell-offs occur from breaking support. They don't generally occur from just a stock coming down through the 9 moving average. But if you have a stock that runs from like $1 to $9 in the day and just does a hockey stick, then yeah, it can absolutely crash down through the 9 moving average. But at that point, why did it crash so hard? Is because it was a bubble and it just popped. That's all there. So why are gap fills expected? Wait, hold on one second. How long? Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Why are gap fills expected? I really couldn't tell you why they're expected. That just generally happens. So, just history repeats itself. How long do you monitor stocks? In our private group, we start at 8. I hop on here at 9, and then we go till about 10:30 in the morning or until about 11. If the day is really active, sometimes we'll be there till 11:30, 12. But again, we don't sit and watch stocks all day long because there's no need to. The best moves are going to happen early in the morning or kind of late to mid-morning, and then after that it slows down unless it's a really hot day. Then we can stick around. But I can already tell you, the longer you stay in the market kind of watching from day to day, the more enticed you're going to feel to trade, the more trades you're going to want to take, the more commission you're going to rack up, and the more losses you'll probably acquire. Do fundamentals play any part in current market or simply go with technical analysis? Fundamentals always play a role, and technical analysis always plays a role. Yeah, so I think we'll go back and look at the SPY, but first let's take a look at Netflix. So Netflix, sorry. Yesterday was interesting, right? Because yesterday Netflix got hammered down pre-market. It broke support that was in place for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then it bounced right back up. Granted, the market did have a really green day. I'll give it that. But if we zoom in here, over past 10 days, resistance, 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 we're right back on it. So the idea here is that maybe today, the only way I think Netflix really breaks out of the 293 price and moves higher is if the market has a really solid day. If the market has a solid day, moves up a point, 2 points, then Netflix will probably squeeze out of that 294. The market has more of a choppier, grindy, not so bullish day, I think Netflix pulls back again. But I think either way, we're starting to form the breakout play on Netflix now, right? Because if you look from this top, we go down, bounce, lower high, or arguably down lower, bounce, down lower, bounce, down lower, really big bounce all the way back up. So pretty much everything that happened here never happened because we bounced all the way back up. So this big move down basically didn't happen because we got bought all the way back up. Now we're pressing this level. If we don't break out today, then what? We're not going all the way back down to here. We just went there and we came all the way back up. We didn't like going there. We came all the way back up. So what? Maybe move down to here, bounce back up. Then what? Move down to here, bounce back up, and then break out? Probably. So I think if market has a really good day, watch Netflix long for a squeeze over the 294. At this point, if it has a really good move, you should be targeting like 298, arguably 300. Really good day on it. So other than that, I think that's a good play on Netflix today too. I don't necessarily think Roku is going to continue down today. Actually, I kind of feel like it might. But we had such an aggressive sell-off yesterday. I definitely don't think we're going to sell off like we did yesterday. If anything, I think it'll be a little bit less of a sell-off. Well, let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, we're on just like a slight pullback right now pre-market. So I think we could see a little bit of a down move, but nonetheless, I think we're going to be into more of like a grinding kind of fashion on choppier grinding fashion on Roku, right? Because we already had a really solid run on Roku. We topped at 173 here. We had a really big pullback. Then we had a pretty big bounce. So really now what's happened is we've put in a wide range. That is really all that's happened. We put in this range from here to here, right? So now I wouldn't be surprised if we see this kind of channel trading, or because now you have your resistance for a new breakout of highs, and now you have this dip support for a new breakdown short, right? So I think this is going to become the new battle zone for bears and bulls over the next couple days to weeks, and we'll see this kind of rally in here. You know, maybe not, but just note that we do have a big high-low range now from 173 to 160, pretty much. Are options good for people with small accounts? If I'm not mistaken, I think in one of your old vids you played some options, small account, Joe. Yeah, so Five Finger John, options can be pretty much best way to put it is if you can correctly pick and choose any financial instrument and win money, then of course it's generally a good option. No pun intended. But options are not, they're not, how do I say this the right way? They can grow your account quickly because the way that they're leveraged or because of the characteristics they're built into an option, but it doesn't actually make them good for a small account. It doesn't make them good for someone with a big account. It doesn't make them good for someone with a $500 million account. It makes them good for a trader who understands them and can trade them accurately and correctly and make money from them. And if you can do so and you're somebody with a small account, then you'll be more likely to grow the small account faster than you would if you were investing or trading equities. So you can grow a small account faster with options than you can equities, but at the end of the day, trading equities and trading options really comes down to the same thing, which is picking and choosing a stock or a security and being able to correctly pick and choose the direction that it's most likely going to go, unless you were trading option strategies that didn't have to do with up or down directional moves, but it could have just had to do with sideways consolidational moves, which you most likely wouldn't be doing in a small account as a beginner anyways. So as long as you can pick the direction, then option will be fine for you. That's the best way I could explain that, I guess. Whoa. Hold on, we're jumping around here. BYD, I mean, yeah, sellers might step in because of a price target being lowered, but again, I would say have a price target of about $100 on BYD, and once it gets down to 100, you'll probably see a bounce around there. DOCU had earnings. We'll take a look at that here in a second. ACB, BA, Master Common Stock before you trade option. Yep, Eric, that's a good way to say it. Master Common Stock, yes. All right, 1 second. Let me move into something here. All right, so let's see. What was I going to do? Somebody wanted me to take a look at. So DOCU. I mean, we'll touch on this real quick. Nonetheless, it's an earnings play. I don't know why I have so many lines in this chart, but So yeah, DOCU kind of earnings, it pressed up into a bunch of resistance, right? You already know that this is going to be the seller's area. That's resistance. So for me, I think I'm more inclined to watch it actually pull back out of the gates. If it can hold, then maybe look for a bounce trade on that. But for me, DOCU isn't particularly in a setup that I really like the most. We have Zoomies. Zoomies, I actually think I like a little bit better than a little bit better than DOCU because this one is arguably at resistance, but also kind of not at resistance. Let me show you if I could get the right time frame here. 2 years day, probably work. So we're right up here at about 30. So, I mean, like, yeah, we're at a top, but in reality, you could go up a little bit more to like 32. So this one I think is a little bit better than DOCU in my opinion, and it has more of a bullish hold and curling formation to start. So I'd be a little bit more inclined to watch Zoomies over DOCU for now. Okay. Lululemon that is. So Lulu is... it's interesting. What's good about it is it put in this high pre-market, or that's actually after hours trading, put in this high at about 200, right? We broke over 200, and now we're holding 200. So that's good. As long as we can hold over 200, I would remain bullish on Lulu. And Lulu's into a 52-week high. So, again, it's into a 52-week high. The nearest whole dollar mark for mental whole dollar mark for resistance would be 200. We broke over 200. Now, the nearest whole dollar support level, which was also a previous high level, is 200, which we're holding 200. So I'd say Lulu's, got some potential as a long play today. It is up pretty big, but Lulu generally has a pretty good move on day of earnings. Okay. What other? Yeah, we could take a look at TNAV just real quick. So yeah, I mean, TNAV was that stock yesterday, just started getting annihilated on no news, really. There was like nothing that should have accounted for this drop. When it was dropping, I couldn't find any news on it, that is. Anyways, ends up getting halted midday at probably about 2 or something, maybe 3. And it opens up either after hours or, no, I think it opens up today pre-market at, what time was that? 6, 7? About 7:10 it opened today, and it's just been hanging out ever since. So this is something that got shorted pretty hard yesterday. A lot of people sold this off. So today it's possible it just has a really, a decent long play on it. And I mean, you got to think if it just came from 10.50 all the way down to 5, now it's at 6. Who's to say it can't pop up to like 7, maybe close to 8, get a point and a half on this, right? So. And I would say if this does go long, I would say that's the particular target you would want, that midday pop and reshort right there. Because a lot of people bought in longs, squeezed up shorts, and then this got reshorted midday there. So it's a good resistance level. So I'd probably pick that point right there. And no, I haven't really had time. There's new stuff in our course. I haven't had time to go through and update it the way I want to. So personally, if you wanted to get re-enrolled in it, I'd probably just wait maybe a little bit more just because I'm definitely getting serious on redoing a lot of stuff in it. Yeah, that is something to note. I was going to say Ulta did end up, I didn't think about it. I hadn't been thinking about it, but had its first kind of good day. Excuse me. So yeah, I think Ulta's worth watching long up until 244. It should probably see some resistance around 244 and then up until 244, over 244 is really the play on Ulta, I think. So definitely, I think keeping Ulta on watch is good. Yesterday was a first screen day. And then today is it's got like a slight little buy and tiny curl starting pre-market. TSX. Oh, I see on the TSX. So you're talking about the Toronto Stock Exchange, Just Energy. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know of them. Wouldn't know personally. BGG gap fill. Let's see. Well, I don't say that. I think it's a good. Well, I would say so far, a little bit late to the move for sure. Missing quite a bit of the move already from 3 to 396. Yeah. But if you notice, was it off earnings? It's filled its gap 2 times. I can see, right here. We had a gap down, filled gap. Right here we had a gap down, basically filled the gap. Well, eventually it did right there, but then we had this gap down, never quite fully filled, but close. This gap down, we're starting to fill. I'd say it's probably got a little bit more to go. But yeah, I think that's worth, keeping an eye on and trading that, for a gap fill situation. Excuse me. MNK, that was that penny stock from the other day, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could continue to watch this long bias again. For the fact that it started at 259 and came down to 127, the price is in at 166. You really can't expect a whole big move. I would expect maybe 20-30 cents of a move in the right direction for that. Domo? Did they report? They may have. Or was that... Oh, I haven't seen this one yet. Or maybe I did and wasn't paying attention. Well, if you look at Domo, you can see that it has a divergence. Bullish divergence, that is. So the bullish divergence, and that one did play out right there. That was the bounce that played on the bullish divergence. Now it's arguable that it's going to continue higher. So for me, I mean, it started at, 25 down to 15, so it's a 10-point drop. I would watch it. The question is, where does it sit on like a daily chart? Down here. So we're at, what did I say we're at? What price? 15. Well, actually, theory at 16. I'd watch it for a long today, I think. I'd probably watch it for a bounce. Yep. ATVI, I think ATVI sold off yesterday a bit, right? Yeah. I would continue watching ATVI long for a move over, just like you've seen here, over the 55 level, because it's starting to get into like a breakout level. Arguably, I don't know if it's going to go right now, but it's been curling nicely, trending up. So I think that, because that's a gap fill. So if you can get into their success, I think there's a good chance that you're going to have a nice move up from like 55 towards 63. Yeah, I'll touch on M. The second time somebody asked me about that, maybe today. So Macy's down to 14. It's a downtrending stock. It might have a little bit of a green move today. You can see it had 1-2 solid days, and we had a nice 4-hour pullback and a day holding. So yeah, you could argue there's going to be a small push on it today, but nonetheless, it's a downtrending stock. Probably not something you're going to want to be buying into, because probably 2 weeks from now, you'll see it's going to be lower than 14 or something. So, yep. Tesla, sure. Let's see, it's 858. Again, I'd watch Tesla long today. So Tesla is, let me delete some of these drawings. Tesla's over the price point that I wanted. So actually, I think I was longing, was it this day? Yeah, I was taking longs on Tesla over, was it that day? It might have been that day, over the 228 level, because the 228 level seemed like the good squeeze point. So we kind of briefly broke on that day. I made like 90 bucks, I think, on the trade. So we're getting up and over the, what is this, 228 level? Yeah, so as long as this holds 228, I'd be bullish on Tesla for the short time frame, right? I mean, if you're looking short time frame, yeah, I'd be bullish on Tesla today, probably long bias. So in the short term, you have gap fills up to 258. So this is your short term resistance. Where are we at? It's 231. So like multi-day top resistance is 231. Multi-week resistance is going to be at 236, 238, up to, again, 246. The gap fills all the way up to 259. Monthly resistance is going to be up at 265. Okay, and let's take a look at the long term because somebody wanted to. I mean, pretty much long term, it's just a big M and it's on a double bottom bounce. Other than that, there is really no trend to it at this point. In the short term, you have, again, trends break all the time, so I don't really rely on trend, but I mean, you have just a higher low setup off pretty much a big M into a double bottom. Now we're bouncing. Now we're in a higher low situation, so we're probably going to squeeze. Wouldn't be surprised if we go back up towards the 260s, and then we're going to stop there. We'll do another M, probably pull back, and then we'll be in consolidation pattern for quite some time. And then eventually we're going to do something like this. We're going to either break down out of that channel or we're going to squeeze back up, and at that point we'll be into a new formation. That's basically what I see on there, like that. Any hooser. So guys, anyways, got to get back to our private group. Do appreciate it in the chat. Here you go, Labor Day 30. Just remember that, right? Because then you can use that coupon code at checkout on our site. If you choose to join us, you don't have to. We'd like to have you. But again, Labor Day 30 at checkout, 30% off anything. And I'll see you guys in the chat room or in our private service if you join it. If not, I'll see you guys not tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday. So I'll see you guys come Monday morning for another live stream. Everybody take care, stay green, don't blow your accounts.